Alrighty, we're live. Cool, cool, cool. Now make sure my music is queued up.
Wait, don't.
Yes. We should be able to shut that door too. Where you at? Get drink up here. That's mine. Hey, come on up. We got 2 minutes. Okay, I'm coming. Everybody keep talking about that puppy, and my mother most of all says, "Don't call him a puppy." She's like, "Why do you keep calling that dog a puppy?"
It's your puppy.
Like he's a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Ew. Bathroom right here. I got a tinkle. You were aware the bathroom that you were supposed to use is downstairs. Oh my gosh. Okay.
No.
Oh yeah, you got the window? No. There. Oh, yeah. I don't want to go. I know. That's what. But I got a tinkle though. You can go ahead and tinkle. I don't want you to. Okay. Where's the bathroom? Oh, here. Oh, she said those are 112. I guess they have 112. Okay. But can we go in? Here we go. All right. 12 o'clock. Here we go. We'll play our introduction. Yes. All right, Lisa.
That baby.
Woo! Hello. You are now listening to the Milspo show on Sedor Radio, the station that is more than just music. We'll be right back with our guests in a moment. But you can't talk when the mic is on. That's your job, though. Here you go. The thingy is right here. Volume's right here. I'm going the right way. Oh. You good? You ready?
It's right.
We all a little nervous, but we like talking about our babies, so it's gonna be fun. I'm sure. Yeah. I'm with it. Look, and enjoy extra. Look, and enjoy extra pay. So Lisa, you are good. This is a sisterhood right here.
This is. I know, isn't it awesome?
Oh my
I
god.
love her. I love it.
Yes, ladies. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna start off with a quick introduction.
Okay.
Give them a little background about the show, and then I'm going to introduce you two ladies, and you can tell them some, background on yourself, what you do, and then we're gonna get into our favorite subjects, our babies. So here we go, ladies. Welcome Welcome back to the Milspo Show. This is the first Milspo Show, and I have two awesome women in the studio with me today. I have Miss Dawn Stanton Drakeford, and I also have the lovely Lisa Heath here with me today. And I'm going to let them tell you about themselves. I'm going to give you a little background about myself. I am a military spouse of more than 20 years, and I'm a mother, a grandmother, a author, a life coach, and all around cheerleader of all women all over the world. So, with that being said, this show is made to inspire women, uplift women, always bring a break, never take one away. I'm going to start with you, Dawn. You can introduce yourself, give a little background, what you do. Um, you go to the public.
Well, as she said, my name is Dawn Stacken Drakeford. I've been a military spouse as well for 20 something years. Glad it's over. And then I'm a clinical counselor and I'm a licensed clinical addiction specialist, and I specialize in mental health, substance use, any type of addictions, and trauma and sexual behaviors, especially in juveniles. And I have my own practice. I've been in business for 4 years here in Fayetteville, and
A
I think that's
blessing
it.
and a godsend, the practice.
Oh,
So
thank
thank
you.
you for being here. How about you, Lisa?
My name is Lisa Heath. I am a paralegal for 23 years. 15 of those have been in Fayetteville. A mom to my son Brian and my stepdaughter Madison. Married to my husband Brian for we've been together almost 10 years. And pretty much it about me, very easy.
Lisa's being very modest. Don't tell you that she's an author.
I have written for the Grief Toolbox, many articles for them online, so you can Google Grief Toolbox, Google my name, and my articles will come up. Was featured in a book called From Mother to Mother on the Loss of a Child. It was written by all grieving moms
Right.
to other grieving moms on how to survive loss, what helps them heal, gives them hope,
Right.
things like that. And you can find that on Amazon or barnesandnoble.com. Get you one of those.
Yes. So as you guys can see, we have some very powerful women here today and to inspire you. Yeah, like, and also Lisa has a wonderful group as well. Any mom, or I don't say any parent, because I don't think we discriminate on sex. It just happens to be a lot of women in this group. But Lisa, tell them about the group.
It's on Facebook. It's an online support group that I started in 2017. It's called Finding Light Through Darkness. So if you are a grieving parent, grandparent, sibling, aunt, whatever, you can go on Facebook, Google in the search bar, Finding Light Through Darkness, and you'll find our page. When I first started it was just to give some hope to the people of local moms here in Fayetteville, and it has exploded. We have now, unfortunately, we have 505 members from all across the United States. We even have some moms from Canada. We have somebody from New Zealand.
Yes.
So it's really been a saving grace to a lot of people, including myself.
Let's give a big hello to the tribe.
Hello,
Hello.
tribe.
And I say because that's I believe the nickname. I don't know where the nickname came from, the tribe. But when I say to you, I am thankful for that group.
Yes.
I can readily go in and type anything. Like if I'm just off today, I know they understand that that's a part of my new normal. You know,
And it is a closed group, so no one else can see anything you post other than the members of that group.
right? Yeah, and it's very supportive. There's no one on there that will ever make you feel like you have grieved for your child long enough. So I'm thankful for that. People have no idea, but we'll talk about that later on in the show. The crazy things that people say to you that they assume will make you feel better, but it does not. You know, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna play a little bit of music for a second, and then when we come back, we will have each one of you ladies tell us about your experience when you first lost your child. You lost your daughter Dawn. Lisa, you lost your son Brian. I lost my son Chino. So what we'll do is go into those stories and pretty much share at that moment how you felt and your struggle on trying to, dare I say, be normal, as people would like to put, like, you know. So we're going to talk about that right after this little momentary break where we play a little music. Thank you for everybody that's tuned in thus far. And if you have not tuned in yet to the Milspo Show, get on here, sign in to Sador Radio on YouTube, look on my Facebook Live, and you can find out how you can also come and download. If you have any comments, leave a comment, and we're sure to answer your questions. It's still recording. That like YouTube Live, we just see everything we got going on during the break.
During the break.
Yeah.
Oh, they get to see what, oh, the one that's talking with that.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. But like yeah, it's comfortable as you feel with expressing, you know, that moment when it hit you or you got the news. And I can't say when it became real to you because I still have moments, you know, where it's like, it's real. You know, not that it hasn't been 8 years, but it's real.
Yeah.
So,
It's like pinch me. Sometimes I have to, honestly, I sometimes pinch myself and be like, because my mind's like, this ain't real. And, you know, I mean, it's a person, it's like a person,
right,
life.
right.
And, okay, so where is she? That's where is she? Like, okay, the body is here. But where is my child? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you ladies experience that.
Because you still have that feeling. You know
And you're-
that.
oh yes, that connection to your kid is Brian.
Right.
Like yesterday, or 100.
Well, look, that's an honor to me.
Yeah.
I'm a huge
Talk
fan
about-
of Red Table Talk.
Yeah.
I
Talk about empowering women.
and Jada Pinkett Smith in my mind is my sister. I don't know if you ladies remember the movie Low Down Dirty Shame,
Yes.
where she ran up on the soap star
Yeah.
and punched him. I said that would be me with Will Smith. And everybody knows I am so Philly, like I love to hold my city down. But if he did something to Jada, and I would like run up on Will and be like, oh, "You tried it," you know. So I am a huge fan of that huge compliment. We about to dive right back into this.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you, ladies, for coming and doing this with me. So thankful. We're going to start off with you. We can go into, yeah. Welcome back to, here we go. Welcome back to the Milspo Show. And right now we're going to get back into our topic. Our topic is Angel Moms. We are talking about how we dealt with the tragic loss of losing a child and some of the things that we've been going through during the grieving process and some of the things that we do to help deal with grief and overcome it. Lisa's going to start us off and share with her story about Brian, the handsome Brian. It's like we know each other's
Yeah.
children,
Yeah.
in this group. So,
And I think that before I start with Brian, I think that that's an important thing to also say is even though it is a tribe that you don't ever want to be in or have anybody else be in, your child is known to strangers.
yes.
I will see something and it'll remind me of Chino or Allison or Kyle or the many other,
Yes.
children that I have never met in this life, but through us, their mothers, we share them so openly that other people learn them and they live through us. Their legacy lives on.
Yes.
And so on November 7th, 2014, Brian was in a car accident about a mile away from our home. I was 10 minutes behind him when the accident occurred. So when I pulled up, I obviously see what I see. And you literally you stop. It's like when people say that your life is like a slow motion picture when something tragic happens, that is so true.
Right.
Because it's like all of a sudden my life, his life is like a slow motion picture. And so you're looking at what your child is in the car, you know, deceased, and you're just in shock. I don't even think I cried until, the following day because your
Right.
body just shuts down. And,
Right.
and it has to. I now believe 5 years, almost 5 years later, your body has to shut down
Right.
in order to survive because if it didn't shut down and you felt everything that you feel automatically with your child dying, you would not survive it. You would just crash. You would die of a broken heart. I truly believe that.
Yes.
I believe it.
It's very overwhelming and traumatic. And when you actually hear the term, oh, heartbreak, and you may have experienced loss in your lifetime, if you lose your child, what heartbreak truly means. Because for the first time in my life, my heart ached, and it was all day, it was constant in the beginning for me.
Yeah.
Like you, Lisa, like I saw in the newspaper
Yeah.
and on the news about Brian, and I am such an introvert, and I don't know what made me reach out to Lisa because the story was very similar.
Yeah.
My son car accident was not too far from our home, so yeah, and then I go to the scene and I see the other young man that was in the car with him. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe this feeling that I was feeling, it's no big deal. Maybe it was just the accident, because I had that uncontrollable feeling like I was in my house pacing and I had no reason. I didn't know why. It was just like, and out of the blue, I called my son and said, hey, you got your sister car.
Mother's intuition.
And he's like, yes, ma'am. And I said, bring her car home, and those were the last words I said to my son before I pulled up to the scene. And the first thing I noticed was the sneakers laying out on the ground. So that is the very last image that I have, so trying to, like you said, process what's going on right now is like, I think my brain just kicked in and did what it needed to do. Because it's like blackout moments. And at times, I can remember someone picking me up, but then I don't know what happened in between. But then I remember, once again, I was on the ground again and somebody else was picking me up. So I understand what you're saying. And then that night, as just little bits and pieces, you begin to remember. But it's not that you'll forget because it's the worst day of your life. But the way that it happens, yes, I believe that your brain will protect you. So,
So with me, my story is a little different. My daughter had a heart condition, a rare heart condition, and it was peripartum cardiomyopathy that some pregnant ladies get, develop during they say either the last trimester or within the first 3 months of giving birth. And that was our situation with my daughter. She had just given birth December of 2013. And we noticed that she was okay out when, excuse me, I'm feeling exhausted.
Right.
And so I told her to go to the hospital. She went. She went in on the 25th, and on the 26th, she was scheduled to go see a cardiologist. She never made it.
Mm.
So we were at the hospital, and her organs had already started shutting down. Yeah, and so they wanted to do some testing. When they took her in, she went into cardiac arrest.
At that time.
And according to the anesthesiologist, he performed CPR. He said for 21 minutes before he was able to revive her. So
I
brain
can
dead
remember
after that.
someone picking me up.
Because
You know.
every 10 seconds,
Right.
no oxygen to the brain.
Yeah.
And they were testing for 2, 3 days, making sure, So they had her on life support, and she had a little bit of breath that she can use on her own, able to breathe independently. So we had to make a decision. We had to make a decision. And this is the first time that I'm openly saying, I usually just say, oh, she had a heart condition.
Right.
But I think it's important too, because this could be new knowledge for pregnant women.
Absolutely.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And with you saying that, recently my
Mhm.
niece just gave birth to my great niece.
Mhm.
Big shouts out to Amir and baby Chloe. Love you guys. But she's been going through a thing, and through the grace of God, she's fighting back.
Mhm.
So that's knowledge. But when you say that she was on life support,
Mhm.
one of the very things that I think about, because I wanted more time.
And you know it was hard though, because she was on life support.
And I
She
felt
had no
like
clue.
they
Right.
didn't give me
Time.
more time
Right.
because nobody in my mind,
Mhm.
nobody was fighting to rush him to the hospital to try and save him.
Mhm.
Now, this is how I'm trying to rationalize, of
He was
course.
already dishonest. Okay.
The
Yeah,
injury
Brian
that he
got it.
received,
Okay.
they said he did not suffer. It was instant. And um unfortunately, like I said, I was able to go there and see. And when I looked at my son, if you looked from his face is like scratches,
Mhm.
but from here, like I can see that blood was coming,
Oh yeah.
So that would not, that wouldn't allow me to go and rush to his side
Mhm.
because in my mind, I'm going to make it worse. But I need one of you professional people to come and save my baby. You know what I mean? That's something that I was wrestling with. And the flip side, like you said, life support. I thought about that. Would I have been strong enough to say, okay, this is the facts.
Right.
This is what it is.
Mhm.
I
He's
have
already
to let
gone.
go.
Right.
Would I have been strong enough to say, okay, yeah, go ahead, So I tried to say, I'm thankful that I was not put in that position.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, because
Me
it was
too.
very hard, and she had she was married, and her husband. I left it up to him. Once they get married, you allow your spouse to. He said, no, you're her mother. You gave birth to her, so you make the decision. So we went home and we talked about it, and being in the field of work I'm in, familiar with the brain. I'm not a neurologist, but we still have to learn. So when they said that there were absolutely no activity to the brainstem, none, and they tried for like I said 3 days, and the doctors talk about, it, and I said, well, even her heart, was functioning under 20%, I think at the time. And I said, well, you know what? I said, is she breathing a little on her own? They said, yeah. I said, take her off and it'll be between her
And God.
and God. And
And
that
it
was
did.
on the 31st of March. And so the first and the second, she died April 2nd. But she did have a day and a half or two. And I did when you was talking about, it's like being able to accept it,
Right.
it was hard
Right.
when they said, okay, she's brain dead. There's a difference between brain dead and being in a coma, and people don't even understand.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So when I did that, I said, wow, I was functioning on adrenaline. You know why?
Yes.
You right? It's
You
like
are functioning.
yes.
You are clear because at that moment, I mean, we were at the accident site. You know, they called my husband, and when they called Brian, he's thinking because they called from my cell phone.
Right.
So when he's driving to the accident scene, he's thinking it's me. Something happened to me.
Right.
Brian didn't even pop into his head.
Right.
Until obviously he gets there, sees
Right.
me, and you know what he saw with me. We were at because then by that time news people were coming. And, you know, my stepdaughter was in college in Wilmington. She had just began her freshman year in college.
Okay.
My parents are in New Jersey. You know, my ex-husband is in Florida.
Right.
So I am literally at the scene, you know, making these decisions because I don't know nationwide. I don't know, and I didn't need my parents, my stepdaughter, you know, to hear this on the 5 o'clock news.
Right.
So literally they are at the scene taking down information while I'm in the car calling, you know, my mom, calling, you know, my ex-husband. Brian's on the phone calling his boss, calling Madison, who's my daughter, you know, just to like prevent the news people from, you know, and we didn't know because again, you're running on adrenaline.
Yes.
Yeah, you're running on.
Definitely.
It is because when we had Jasmine's funeral, I'm gonna be honest, people were calling me after. Oh, it was so good seeing you, you know, at the funeral. I'm whispering to my husband, when were they here? I don't even know who was there.
Thank you.
Years later, it'll be 5 years in November. So years later, probably in the third year, I finally went into the book where people signed in.
Yes.
And I'm like, don't remember. I'm sure they came
looking
up
at the little cards.
And for me,
I
even
don't
the
remember.
book that I had, it was like, okay, how do I reach these people and thank them? Because there's no address.
Right.
So I couldn't even, like, you're just signing your names, and then I would be out and about, and I'll see somebody, and they'll say, oh, hey, you know, I met you at Chino's funeral, and I'm thinking to myself,
yeah. When were you there?
Right, like,
where were you?
I don't want to be rude because I'm grateful and appreciative that you came, but I was like, everything was surreal. Everything that was happening, it was like I was watching.
Yeah.
It happened.
Like Twilight.
I don't want anyone to take offense when I don't remember you from that time period because it was a lot. I mean, a lot. So you just be thinking, I don't remember who sent flowers.
But thank you for coming.
Right. I don't remember who came and anything. And we're gonna take a short break, and get back to it because at that time for me, I don't know about you ladies, but for me, I was already planning to check up out here.
Oh yeah, no, me too.
So it was just like I'm going through the motions until I can find a comfortable time to get up out of here. So we're going to take a quick break, and please share with other people. Tell them to come and join us, Sador Radio on YouTube Live, the Milspo Show. We'll be right back after this music. They actually hear music.
Yeah, they just see us drinking our lemonade.
But lemonade is good.
I know.
But let me tell you, we looked at a house here, and because of all these woods, I was like, nope. And I'm down here. I'm like, this is awesome.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, I love Anderson. I love it.
I'm gonna tell you why I don't want to leave here.
Oh, I love it.
For the peace.
It's quiet.
And y'all know how much you need peace. Yeah, especially. So we were off of Ramsey Street, and I had been praying. Like, I don't know. I'm sick of being here, but I don't know where you're gonna take me because we had to get from the side where everything happened.
Right, that was us.
I had to get from over there.
We moved.
So it was just like rush and go there. So that's what we did. And then We came here, and I was like, okay, went for a walk in the neighborhood, and my whole spirit just was like, okay, yeah, like everything. I just needed this peace.
That's what we did. We lived off of Ramsey Street in Pine Valley, almost near Pine Forest High School.
Yeah.
On Johnson, off of Johnson Farm Road, and the accident was here, literally my house. And at first, because we had our house in the market before Brian died. You know, our stepdaughter went to college, Brian was on his way to go to college, we didn't need all this room, we went to sell and downsize. And then after we died, no way, I got back to the house. And we took it off the market, got left at 5 months. And I said, I can't, this house is not home. I can't go, I lived on our first floor for a good 3 months. And just the thought of going up the stairs, right, passing his room, passing his bathroom, right. I could do it. My husband would have to, bringing down the slow.
You know what I don't know if you want me to read. But like with Jasmine, she's my firstborn, you know, it was just she and I knew my husband, you know, for about 2 years. Right. My husband, but I felt honored recently because I gave her her first bath. And I gave her her last bath. Exactly. And she was 28. Exactly. So I'm like, wow, I gave my baby the first bath and her last bath. And when we were at the funeral home, I asked if I could cover her up and lower her down and close her. And the guy was like, no one's I said, well, I'm not afraid. I'm not right. And I did it. Right. And, you know, I was able to say, I didn't say goodbye. I just told her to just rest.
It's okay.
We talk about our baby.
Yeah, that's okay. Never apologize for that. And that's something I learned over time.
Right.
I used in the beginning, the first 2 years, if I got upset or something triggered me and I cried in front of people, I would apologize. I don't do that anymore. If what happened to me makes you uncomfortable, that's your issue. That is not my issue.
Now, if I finish, you got to my moments.
Yeah.
I'll have, but they won't be too long.
Right.
You know?
Right. And I think time does that.
Yeah.
I think maybe time does do that.
Well, why did
They can send in questions now. I believe I believe it's a 215 number. Yeah, you can call in. It's yeah. But I'm gonna need you to research that number for me real quick. Welcome back to the Milspo Show. And right now we are getting into, we last left off, we talked about when you first got that news, what your mindset was like, and you know, some of the things you were going through. Before we went on break, I said at that time for me, I was making plans to check out, you know. My daughter was pregnant, so I said once she has my grandson, that's it. She'll have someone to love and she'll know what it's like. So she'll have something to live for. But I can't live with this pain and this hurt, you know, anymore. And then the mere thought of ever experiencing loss of that magnitude, I was like, oh no, I can't ever do this again. So I don't know. It's just when I looked and I said, my daughter deserves better. She's no less than my son. I will not give up on her. And then I got that beautiful grandbaby that looks so much like my son.
Yes, he does.
And I was like, God loves me still. You know, even though my baby's not here, he loves me still. So yeah. You guys can, if you have any questions, you can call into the Milspo Show at 215-909-6070. Lisa, tell me a little bit at that time.
That was definitely, now, when Brian died, he was also a senior in high school.
Right.
So we had prom coming up. We had college acceptance letters coming in, you know,
Right.
still. We had graduation from Pine Forest High School. So for me at that time, I had to get through that. I had to, you know, accept his diploma at graduation. I had to just get through this crap, if you will.
Right.
Um, but I thought about checking out. I had A, B, C, D, E, F, G moments.
Right.
Many times driving down. If people are familiar with Fayetteville, Hay Street, there's a Sestell building.
Yes,
Right.
that's
I'll
all
never
building.
forget in December, it was right before Christmas, driving down,
Right.
and I said I could just drive my car right into the Sestell building and everybody will understand a lot why.
Right.
And then something crazy happened. I laughed. And
After the thought.
more like a couple weeks later, maybe in January-ish,
Right.
February, and it was a true, genuine belly ache laugh.
Right.
And in that moment, me dying is just gonna put heartache on my family, you know, my parents, my stepdaughter, my husband. It's not gonna bring Brian back.
Right.
If I could switch places, as we all would, they would take Brian in with open arms.
Right.
But I knew then in that moment that I might be okay. I don't know how. I still didn't know how I was gonna be okay.
Right.
But in that moment, I thought maybe I can try and figure this damn journey out somehow.
Right.
Somehow.
Like, I don't know why this is my test,
Yeah.
you know, but I do not want to give up,
No.
you know.
No.
For me, it started to get almost like my son loved life. And if I ended my life, what does that say about him? How is that honoring his memory? Because he believed in living life with no regrets, you know.
Right,
He took
right.
his-
YOLO.
Yeah, you know, he took his sister's car keys. It's like, it's better for ask for forgiveness than permission. I don't, you know. So, I tend to remember that sometimes and be like, I got to keep pushing. You know, it is time to thrive. I no longer can hide behind being a mom and a wife and saying, well, I'm a mom and a wife. I don't have time
Right.
to pursue what I want to do or anything else because I'm not honoring my son. I'm not doing myself any justice, you know. So, what is it that you desire to do? I desire to uplift women. Always knew, didn't know how, didn't know.
Just do it.
Right.
Do it now.
So, and then
It's a new
things
purpose.
started
Yeah.
happening, and
Yeah.
you just like,
You roll with it. You roll with it.
See,
You know,
it's a
I
new
didn't have-
purpose.
I didn't have the thoughts, the suicidal thoughts or anything. What I did say, I'm chuckling, but when they told us that, you know, hey, this is just it, like literally like a piece of furniture type thing.
right,
I said, well, you know what? I've already lived my life, married, children, grandchildren. I said, you could take my brain and give it to her. And that doctor looked at me and I was like, she can have the brain, she can have the heart. And my husband was like, really?
And I think
you know, that you think about others.
You
like,
don't
Right.
at that
you
time.
You
At
don't
that time,
think you don't think about it.
Mhm.
And it's not, for me personally, it's not so much that I wanted to die.
Okay.
I wanted the pain
To
to
go
go
away.
away.
Yes.
that excruciate. It hurts so bad, and it still hurts.
I was
Right.
going to ask you that question.
no,
before
it's still
you said it.
it'll be 5 years. I
Mhm.
think about him every single day.
I do too.
His name comes out of our mouth
Mhm.
every single day.
Mhm.
I cry. Probably not like I did in the beginning, but if something I see, but now I just roll with it.
And see, I'm able to cry
I'll
now.
just wipe my tears off my face and
Mhm.
and roll with it.
I was able to cry now because she had 4 little boys. So when she passed away, I had to put on rollerblades
Yes, you did.
and help her husband with the 4 children, a 3-month-old, a 3-month-old, a 12-month-old, a 5-year-old,
Wow.
and a 7-year-old, all boys.
All babies.
And I was just coming into my remission of breast cancer.
Right.
So boom, I couldn't even focus on that. You know, it was
Right.
like my husband and I was like, okay, this is what we have to do. And it was like having twins. But I had to do it. And I think that's what helped me. Because I
Yeah,
couldn't
because I
sit idle and
know we
focus.
have mentioned before,
Mhm.
like I was one of those people like sounds a little crazy, but
Yeah.
why is he practicing safe sex so thoroughly at this time? You know,
We have had that conversation,
we've
yeah.
had that conversation. You know,
Uh-huh.
like when your son is alive, like you're trying to scare the life out of him. You know, safe sex. You know, and then when you have that moment and you're almost praying like hole in the condom, maybe at least one time you forgot to use it, that somebody will come to me and say, we had an accident. And this is
Yeah.
the results of what happened. I prayed for that moment for a good
Really?
2 to 3 years after my son passed.
I still pray for
You know, we're gonna get this.
I mean, back
knock on the
then,
door.
I would have cried my eyes out and probably beat him up. But, I mean, I still pray. Maybe she's in Australia somewhere. She doesn't know he died. I mean, I don't know.
You're
Like,
hoping.
someone later. Yeah, I don't know. And
Just
this is like
hoping.
some 6-year-old that's, well,
Hey, grandma, or and it wouldn't even be a thing with me, like waving,
I'd be like, come on
and
in.
give me the baby. You need a break,
You need a break for the next 10 years.
Right. So for seeing you the other side,
Right. Yeah.
and you have children that you have to be responsible for
Yes,
and
ma'am.
keep her memory alive. But in the same token, you have to protect these little people.
That's right.
So how is that? Because like me, Lisa and I we can think of the good things,
Right.
To having
Well, they have
a child left behind, but
Right.
we're not thinking of the trying moments, the other side.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I had to be so in tune with them. I couldn't grieve. So, because I had to make sure they were emotionally and mentally healthy,
Yeah.
and they didn't know what happened. But I'm going to share this. The 5-year-old, when the ambulance came to pick up his mom, they took her to Cape Fear. I went and got him, put him in the truck, went to the bus stop to pick up the oldest. And the oldest, getting in the car, and Jalen. I was gonna say his name when his grandma. I could say his name, Jalen. So Jalen says to Isaiah, "Mommy went to the hospital. The ambulance took mommy to the hospital. She's gonna die. She's not coming back." And that was the truth. She didn't come back.
Right.
She went in the hospital in less than a week. My baby was gone.
Right.
So in the mind of a child.
Right.
He's 10 now.
Oh wow.
So I wonder, do you still
think about?
Yeah, and we have like in our home, we have a formal living room, and it's a picture of her.
Right.
And my husband brought her a little box, and so anytime they want to draw pictures or put something in it, they'll go in there and say, "Oh, this is for mommy," and
That's
they'll
a
open
great
the box.
idea.
Right.
And
That's
my
a great
husband
idea.
thought of that, and
I love it.
and it was really good. And her pictures there, and then excuse me, a friend of ours made us a throw blanket with a picture of her.
Right.
So that's thrown over the couch. So they started calling this room last year mommy's room.
Oh,
So when they feel like they
awesome.
want to be close to their mother, they go in there and sit down.
That's fantastic.
And have
I
a
love
piece
that.
of
I love
of
that.
her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because after Chino, passed, change the room. No, absolutely not. Like,
No.
don't go in there. I'm not changing it. It was no, you can't sleep in there. Like, just no. So
Brian's dirty clothes are still in the same basket that he left the day he passed.
Oh.
Not washed. They are in there exactly the way that he left.
And it makes me feel okay.
In a different home, but
I
they're still
kept
in
the
that
shirt.
basket.
I was getting ready to say.
Yeah, I kept the shirt.
I
It's in a plastic bag, so it's still you still smell the sweat and everything.
She spent the night at her house because she had lived on her own apartment or whatever, and she had on this pink, black, and white like leopard nightgown.
Right.
Same thing. I got it in a plastic bag and I put it up. I said, I'm gonna forever be able to smell her.
And I do. I take it out and it still smells like him.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, thank you, God. Or, you have a recording or something like that, or a video.
Yes.
And you're thankful for those memories, but in the same instant, you can be smiling and then here it
Absolutely.
comes.
Yes.
And that's a little different. So what we're gonna do is take a quick break and we're gonna come back and discuss that as well. Because I need to be more like you, Lisa. And say, I don't care if this makes you feel uncomfortable or not, because this is my life and this is what
Your
I'm
new
going
normal.
through. My new normal, and I would appreciate if you would have some type of understanding, But when we come back from this break, please feel free to call in at 215-909-6070. You are listening to the Milspo Show.
So the people take a look at
Again. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm trying to figure out how come I don't
This is
hear
the
me.
first time I'm really sitting down and discussing. You know what I mean? Because it's always with family. You know, we need to talk about what people say.
Oh, we definitely are going to talk about
Yeah,
the
that's
crazy
all.
things
Oh,
down
but
here.
yes.
The thoughtless things people say. and thoughtless was being nice.
But they
'Cause
can't
it's-
walk in our shoes.
Yeah,
So they
definitely not.
No.
And that's I don't know.
We got a phone call?
Text because I don't hear any music and the mic is on. Oh, it's on.
Well, they can see us, but they can't hear us. They're hearing that.
Ah, but that was probably give me something too. Hey.
You want some drink?
It's only lemonade. It's not spicy.
It's just lemonade.
Why not, right?
And you know mine is not to lemonade.
Oh, I got the version. That's okay.
Listen, I did not make it spicy because I was like, I know no one does not. So me and Lisa can just like
I
and just
enjoy.
right, but yeah, like I'm a little bit upset that you can't come back to breast cancer topic because, and you know why you can't be here for this conversation on breast cancer this much awareness, which all will be revealed, and I'm so excited. But yes, Lisa is gonna have to come back with us. This is my soul sister, and I tell people I was like, Lisa is my soul sister because she completely did not take it the wrong way when I reached out to her. Nope. At all. It wasn't like, lady, I don't care that you lost your son, because I was apprehensive. I'm like, she is going through it, and I don't know if I should say something, not say something, but it just was so heavy in my spirit to reach out to her. It was so similar. I was like,
And that's what I was getting ready to say.
Yeah.
And here we are, almost 5 years later.
yeah,
And listen, so your stories are very, very similar.
Yeah.
very
Right?
Yeah.
And that's your commonality right there. Like, well, I have something in common with you. We have eyes.
Right.
So
it's
Yeah. And the like what I always say, like with our tribe, all different personalities, all different upbringings, all different. We all have our children in common, and yet we're as close as thick as thieves. And it does all that other stuff. It does, none of that matters.
definitely do not, like I said,
Right.
we are very protective
Yes.
of one another.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
do not let anybody
Yes.
come on there and say that somebody
Oh.
said something
It's
disrespectful. It's like, hey, drop an address, we'll show up.
Right.
And let them know that this is not okay. That's
Nope.
not what you said.
Nope.
And it just blows my mind because, like I said, for me, going through it 8 years now, I'm to the point where I live with it. I just say,
And think about when Brian passed, he was only 3.
yeah,
That's so much time.
Wow.
And that's the whole thing about sense of time.
yeah.
Like you don't know sense of time. Like some days it feels like yesterday for me. Some days it feels like it's been 100 years since I've seen my baby.
Yeah. And like, well, I had a thought, well, you know what? I'm just gonna think about Jasmine being on vacation. And she just got to come back.
I think another thing for me too when we're talking about like the suicide stuff And, when Brian died, I was, 45 now. So when he died, I was 40-ish.
Mhm.
All
If
right,
my
all right.
lifespan is another 45 years, do I want to live like that?
Mhm.
No.
Right, right.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Milspo Show. And we have two guests joining us today, and we're talking about being an angel mom and dealing with the grief and overcoming losing a child so tragic and sudden. Because one thing I know, there's no name
Right.
for what we have experienced,
That's
you
right.
know, because it's not supposed to happen.
Right.
And if you don't believe it, that right there should be enough to convince you. They have a name for everything, a child that has lost parents, a woman that can't have children, if you lose your husband, if you lose your wife, there is no formal name for a person that has actually lost their child. So
That's just it.
yeah, you lost your child. So
Yeah.
I would love for people to think about things like that before they say crazy things out their mouth. Like, okay, one to me,
Ready?
and one that was said to me was, "Oh, well, I know someone that lost one child, and she's okay."
So she thinks.
And and in my mind, I was thinking to myself, maybe she's just not comfortable enough
Talking to you.
to share with you
Exactly.
what she's going through, because I can definitely tell you she's not okay. And for you to make that statement and be a woman was kind of crazy to me that had children.
Mhm.
I almost wanted to say, okay, so which one of your kids would you be okay with living without?
Right.
Since I'm supposed to be okay because I still have one.
Right. And not on a mission trip.
Right.
Right.
Dead.
Right. You
Not
They're
coming
dead.
back.
They're not coming back. They're dead.
Not in even with that.
Which one can you live without?
I kind of know what you're going through because my son's in prison.
Oh, no.
But you can still go see him, right?
Do you really?
Someone really said that?
Yes.
Oh my.
Yes. And my head kind of like turned to the side, like, are they sentenced to death?
Right.
Because
And you still can be on the death row for a good 20, 30
yeah, like
years before you
I don't understand how you think the two are the same.
They're not. They're
So, like I said, I adopted I say a prayer now.
Yeah.
Because I know I do not want you to experience
That's right.
what I've gone through. There's no one on this earth that I think deserve it.
Right.
Also, it made me kind of like, as my daughter wants to say, zen, laid back, because I would tell you what I'm thinking, but now I try to pray for someone that says something crazy, and be like, oh God bless them. Please don't ever let them experience this. So I know you ladies had issues where someone said something crazy.
Yeah, I had someone say to me on the day of the funeral, girl, you just gotta let that go.
On the day of.
Yes, you just gotta let that go and move on.
And that question,
I couldn't even say anything.
No, but if they are mothers or fathers or grandparents
Right.
or siblings,
Mhm.
it makes me question how good a parent you are. Because
To say something like that.
if you think for an instant that you were going to walk in your house at 5 p.m. and get a knock on the door and your kid is dead, no matter the age.
That's right.
Right.
Birth
Jasmine was
to 80.
28.
Birth to 80 is
Right.
still your baby.
That's right. That's right.
And if you think that you are going to be okay after that, I question your parenting skills. I question your maternal, paternal, everything.
Right.
But you know,
Because
just the
there's
thing.
no way.
Sometimes when people would say something like, way, when you walk in those shoes,
Right.
don't talk to me.
Right.
That's how I handle it.
Right.
And
Right.
because it's a hole in my heart that
Forever.
It never goes
it will
away.
be right.
No.
It'll be there.
I've even had, well, how long has it been?
Mm.
Do you think it's a time limit?
No
Like,
time frame
no.
whatsoever.
If you tell me if you tell me after 10 years, 15 years he'll come back, then Then I start
Right.
thinking, like,
I only
well,
got
how
5 more
long?
to go.
Right, like
Yeah.
how long? It's been. I only got a little bit more time left. But do you understand? I will never see him again. Here physically.
Right.
Oh, we
You
have
know,
pictures,
right.
memories, you know.
So I don't. What's your question? How long has it been? I don't know. It could be ever.
Right.
If I'm still alive
And
40
no, you
years
don't
from
ever
now,
get
I'm
over it.
still going to miss him. I'm still going to have those moments where I cry
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
because for me, I was invited to a baby shower, right?
Mhm.
Super excited. Couldn't wait. It was my son's friend. Like, he's having a baby. These kids are growing up. And
Mhm.
so I get there and I'm sitting and I'm like, this is beautiful. I'm just happy. And boom.
Yep.
I don't know where.
Yep.
If Chino was here, he would be so excited. Because even if he wasn't in Fayetteville, I know that their relationship was close enough that my son would have said, Mommy, can you go and take a gift to the baby shower anyway? And sitting there knowing that we didn't have this conversation about this new coming baby, his friend who he considered like one of his brothers, um, it started to make me sad. But
Yeah.
I really got emotional when it
Mhm.
hit me. I will never be at a baby shower where my son is having a baby.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, I gotta get out of here.
Yep.
Gotta get out of here because I don't want to be Debbie Downer.
Right,
And I'm
right,
sure you
right.
ladies are like,
Yeah.
it's times where you want to go and celebrate with people, but then you know yourself and you know it's going to be something. So you're like, can't go.
Yep. And you have to protect your peace.
Right. What?
Yeah.
That's what it is. But
Protect
share
your
like
peace.
how you've had those experiences where you want to be all aboard and then you just like, I don't think it's a good idea.
I think I've learned now not to make plans because I might 3 weeks from like say I get something, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm really excited,
Right.
I'm gonna go, and then for whatever reason, on the day of, you might just have had a bad day or you're just
Right.
not feeling it, and
Mhm.
then you cancel. Well, then people don't understand why you're canceling because
Right.
it's
Right.
been 5 years. You should
Right.
be over it.
Right.
You
Yeah.
like I'm sorry, like, and
Yeah.
I'm happy for them. Look, and I don't want anybody to take what I'm saying wrong. I'm happy that you had that.
Right.
I wish that I had that with my son. I'm glad and thankful that I have that with my stepdaughter.
Right.
That I get to watch her flourish.
Right.
But I am missing the hugest part of my entire life. So it's not that I begrudge you for having that with your kids. You should have that with your children.
Mhm.
I admire.
I admire it.
Right.
Yeah. There are just some things that especially if it's close in age, because Brian died when he was 17. So like if he was supposed to go like 4 years of college and then graduate, there's no way I'm going to a college graduation at a school in which he was supposed to attend. Like it's not like it's just not happening.
Yeah.
Like why put yourself in that painful situation
Right.
that is going to be excruciating, and then you're upset, which is
Right.
then they're gonna wonder why is she this upset. It's just a whole bunch. So I just bow out.
And you don't want to take away from anybody's happiness.
No, because I want that. Like what it doesn't make me mad that people are loving parents, good parents involved. The opposite for me is true. The people that are horrible moms, horrible dads, horrible, they don't pay attention to kids. They don't go give them the time they need, the love they need. Those are the people that make me
Quality
mad.
time.
Right.
And my daughter used to love to take selfies. And I used to say, girl, you take so many pictures. I'm so glad she took all those pictures because I have them all in my
Well, I gotta thank my mom for all that. That I wouldn't have half of the pictures that I probably wouldn't have any of those pictures of him growing up if it wasn't for my mom. I mean, she videoed and pictures and all that stuff. So
we get so involved in just life.
yeah.
Getting ready for the next phase. Oh well, he's getting ready for middle school, or he's getting ready for high school, and then after high school, you got to worry about this and this and that. So you never really think about the small little moments and the little special memories until something like this happens, and you're like, if I could rewind and soak up all that, just those little happy moments, I would.
Yeah.
My daughter used to call me, and I said this at the funeral. She used to call me, this is no fabrication at all, at least 25 times a day.
And I'm sure during that process, you're like, you don't have something else better to do. Like, oh my gosh,
But that was just her.
you
And so
know.
I was like, okay, now I know my
And
phone
that
is not
definitely
gonna ring
wasn't
as
Brad.
much. Maybe because they were boys.
It could be.
And
It could
Teenage
be.
boys that
Teenage
Teenage
boys,
boys,
yeah.
and for me, I miss hearing, "Mom, you good? You okay? You sure?
Yeah.
All right." And at the most random times, like I'm in the middle of watching my show, and he just busts in my room, "Mom, you good? You sure? You all right?
Yeah.
All right, okay." And if I wasn't, what were you gonna do? You know, like
Right.
Probably give you a big hug.
could
Yeah.
be. Like even that night when Chino passed, I remember him saying to me, "Mom, I'm going back next door for a little while." I said, "Okay." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, it's y'all got 2 more days of school left." And your
Right.
dad, his dad was like, "You gotta lighten up some." He's a teenager. So I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, you're right." And he's not a bad kid. No, he's not a saint,
Right.
but he's not a bad kid, So that night he says to me, "I'm sleeping in your bed when I come back." And I'm like, "I don't care," because it's not unusual for when my husband, dad, is going. He's like, "Pops is in Virginia. I'm going to sleep with you, Mom." And my daughter as well, and she was in college, will come home and be like, "I'm sleeping in your bed." But so that wasn't unusual. And that's one of the memories that makes me smile but can also make me cry
Yeah.
because I didn't get him to actually make it to come and sleep with me that night. And while he was here, sometimes it'd be like, "Oh, you're too big," but he would be 25 on the 12th. And if he said, "Mom, I'm sleeping in your bed," I would gladly,
Yeah.
come on, you can sleep with mommy. You're always going to be my baby,
That's right.
and people don't understand that. So if anybody is listening, what I would love for them to do is when you get caught up in the everyday life of running here and practice and you're driving me, take those special moments
That's what I said.
and breathe it in, suck it in, hug your kids, love your kids because once it's gone, it's gone. You don't get it back. I would do just about anything to see my son playing a basketball game. When he was playing, it's like another line, another game, another tournament, and then we got to buy more sneakers. I'll give it.
My daughter was excited that year because she was like, "Oh, Mom, you're gonna be 50. Oh, I can't wait till you turn 50. We gonna make sure you have a good 50th birthday, and I'm gonna be the office manager when you establish your practice." And so I was like hype, but then when she died, I was like, okay. So, but you were supposed to be my office manager, those things. But sometimes even now, my heart aches.
Right.
And I lay down and I be like, am I about to have a heart attack?
Oh, there are times where I think
Yeah.
Have you
I
felt that before?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. The
Yeah.
pain, it's an ache that you can't even explain until
Nope,
somebody lets it.
cannot. Yes.
But there are times where I'm like, my heart's just gonna give out.
Yeah.
Right.
It hurts so bad.
And I'd be like, oh, can you really
You got
die
to take
from
a
this?
deep breath.
breath.
Because it's like you can't, whatever it is, I'm willing my heart
So
to
you
beat
feel it too.
one more time.
Mhm.
It's like I gotta will myself to keep going.
Mhm.
And it comes at the most random times. If you
Random,
don't,
random.
it's just like, oh, it's here. For me, I remember going because I've had several counselors till I found one that was my mesh, and now I gotta find another one for other reasons. But anyway, I had a counselor, and the last time I saw her was because I said to her, "My heart aches," and she said, "It's just in your mind."
Oh.
And I said, in my mind, is what I said was, "This is our last appointment."
Oh, so she was saying it was psychological.
Yeah, it was a psychological thing. I really was
Oh.
not feeling this ache in my heart, is what this
Oh.
woman told me.
Oh.
And in my mind, if I come punch you in your face,
Yeah, you would have gotten knocked
you
out.
would feel what I'm feeling in my heart. Because that's the only way I can explain it to you because I'm trying to verbally, yes, explain hey, my heart is aching, and she told me it's all in my. Oh, okay. So you
That's
mean to
deep.
tell me I'm sitting here right now willing myself to breathe to get over this pain, but it's all in my mind.
Right.
Oh, yeah, this is our last meeting.
I mean, I wish people would just not say anything than say things that are absolutely
Yes.
ridiculous. And after you utter them, do you not think how stupid that you just sounded?
And you can't take them back. You can say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way," but you said it.
And I think they
So-
kind of know when you give them this look like, really?
Yeah.
Did you say that? Now, some people don't backtrack. They stand firm in their stupidity. You know, it's like, yeah, I said it. What's the problem? The problem is you're a parent.
Right.
That's the
Yeah.
first problem.
Yeah.
Second problem is, do you love your children?
Right. Right.
Because how could you imagine life without them?
And be okay.
Yeah.
And be like, after funeral over, we're just gonna party it on up here in this house.
I had one person say to
can't
me,
do it.
well, what's
No.
the difference between you losing your son and a woman losing her husband? Well,
I can get another husband.
that part. I can't.
If we want another one.
If-
Right.
Yeah,
Like I can't.
I don't know after all mine. I want
Right,
another
that's
one.
what
I'm
I
just
said.
saying.
I can't get another son.
No,
And
it's ridiculous.
just to enlighten you, you know, if she divorced her husband, she's a divorcee.
right.
I lost
exactly.
my son yet again. What's the name of it?
A mother-
Nothing. I'm just a woman who lost
mother
her
who
child.
lost her child.
You know
That's
what
it.
I'm saying?
Right.
Because it's not normal. It's not supposed to happen.
No.
So for me, I just wish people would not say
Be trying to
Anything.
be mindful. Yeah.
I mean, and if you are
Silence
somebody's
is good.
friend, yeah, it's like that the thing on the movie. You know, when the movie starts and it says silence is golden.
Yeah.
right.
That's
Yes,
that's what I
right.
wish people
Yeah.
would do in real life. Silence is golden, or just say, "I'm here if you need anything."
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Because we're not always looking for them to say anything.
We are not, definitely. And I tell people you have to understand if someone is calling to vent or they are actually wanting advice. You know, so you have to determine. And for me, I try to listen.
Yes.
And if you are more gearing towards saying it over and over again, well, maybe they're asking for my input. Now, if you're running down what your problem is and that's that, then you just wanted me to listen, and that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
You know, I think a lot of times the art of listening.
Yeah.
People don't, you know, they feel like I have to say something.
Right. And people don't have the answers. And we live it. And I don't have the answer.
Not
I
at
don't
all.
expect you who doesn't live this to have any answer.
Right.
Because you know what? There is
We
no
just
answer.
learned. We just learned that this is our new normal, and we have to hold on to the memories that we have of our children. I can say children because it's all children for us.
Right.
Hold them so close, to our heart. That's what we can have. We can. That's what we need. But on the other hand, if we could get them back, we'd be like, okay.
yeah.
Blink of an eye. You'd be
Yeah.
like, what do you need? Do you need me to lay on this table so you can take me? Like, and
Yep.
then he'll be back. Cool. Done.
Yeah.
Somehow,
You know.
Done.
Like
But-
I said, I told them that I'll
Done.
give her my brain, and
Done. But the reality is that that's not going to happen. So we have to learn how to
I
survive
got a question.
this, survive loss, survive the heartache. We have to just, figure that out. And that's a journey that takes every single day to do.
We got a question for Dawn.
Really?
It said, where do you find the strength to pull through and stay strong without giving up or breaking down?
Should I answer that now?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Oh, okay. My faith is what gets me through. And I have to look at my grandsons and be strong for them. Because I can only imagine as children losing your mom. One day you see her, the next day she's gone. That's
A lot to
really
process.
traumatic for children, and they don't really understand death anyway.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's where I gained my strength from. Knowing I have to be here to take care of them.
I definitely commend you. Like I
Yeah.
said, being on the selfish side. Sorry, I'm just being honest. I was like, a baby would have been great, because I was just thinking about myself. But then you have you who your grieving process was stagnated. Not that you ever stopped grieving, but you couldn't even begin
Right.
Right.
because you began to worry about other people.
Yeah.
4 little people.
Yeah,
Right,
and
right.
you have 4 little people, and,
Yes.
and what people don't understand is, as a woman, we tend to care about everyone and everything around us. Period.
There
You
were
know.
times when I really I had thoughts of, am I going to be able to do this? Because remember, I just came out of a battle of breast cancer.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, and I had aggressive treatment.
Right.
So I have my husband, he's a great grandpa. Great. I'm not talking about great as in old.
Right.
I mean,
Wonderful.
grandpa. Right. And I also had a young lady that I call my sister. Her name is Bahia. And she used to come get the kids, and she has 4 of her own, but she would, take the little ones and have them at her house sometimes, and I was so grateful for that. And then I had 2 other friends that helped me a lot. So, I get tired, I won't lie.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
it's tiring, but
is
you
tiring.
have to do it,
Right.
you know.
And I'm so thankful for you for pushing, and striving, because as women, we have been trained and conditioned that it's a competition, or we have to tear each other down, you know. And the premise of this show is building women up, respecting each other's similarities and differences.
Yeah.
We are all different women that come from different backgrounds. However, we share the experience of losing our children. Lisa and I, we have that similarity of how we lost our children. You and I have that breast cancer survivor in the fight. Oh, you didn't even get a chance to say, woohoo, I'm in
Right.
remission, because your child had passed right after that, and the same thing happened to me.
You. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like I'm in the fight for my life in 2010, and then 2011, my son is gone, and I couldn't quite process, because I was like, well, I don't understand. I prayed, I begged, I pleaded, and I fought and stayed positive so I can live for my husband and my children.
Right.
And then just a year later, I lose my baby boy. Make this make sense to me.
Right.
Why am I spared to go through this pain?
And you know what? This is my rationale. This is not about breast cancer, but it is part of my other new normal.
Right.
But I had a very aggressive cancer. Actually, I had 2 types of cancer. So I went through treatment with a couple of ladies whose cancer came back several times. They're no longer here. So my rationale is, I was spared because she was going to be leaving. That I didn't know this, but she was going to be leaving, and someone needs to be here for the children.
Right.
So even if she didn't make it without, like, say if she was on life support, you know how some people keep their family on life support forever, never. She still wouldn't have been able to do anything for the children. So I still would have to step in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But some grandparents don't want to do it, but I feel like I don't have a choice. Because they're a part of me, they're my legacy.
Right. And her legacy as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to take another quick break before we come back and get back into sharing some tips on overcoming, thriving, some of the things that you ladies like to do to, uplift you, keep you positive. And if it's anything that you would like to say to uplift any other woman that may be experiencing this, we're going to share that when we come back from this quick break.
Yeah, they're my legacy to add, and children, grandchildren.
And if you don't, 4 of them.
boys.
Ooh.
And then my baby girl had a boy.
Like if a vagina don't come up in this house soon, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
So we went to meetings. We wanted to, we wanted to work into it. So we went to meetings. People want money. We didn't mind. We didn't think of it. Just be good to the kids. Girl, please. People want the money, but they did not want to do work. Oh no! I mean, it was like no.
I can't. When it comes to children, I've always had an issue with somebody mistreating a child. But now, honey, I'll be like, oh, somebody, you better hold me back because I am ready to jump off like a top rope, like a wrestler, onto somebody. Just don't mistreat a child. And even when I hear moms, saying, oh my God, I can't wait for you to get grown. I be thinking to myself, oh, because I remember making those mistakes older. I remember making those mistakes, but I be like, boy, when I wouldn't think to have my son work my last nerve right now. Like, it was really.
Well, I know that I make a phone call, because my phone don't ring as much now. But every time I used to be like, yes, Jasmine. Yes, Jasmine. Or she'll text, we're in the yard, and be there, or the kids. We're in the yard, it's not the line.
I would
I would give anything for her to pull back up in there and go, Mom, we're here.
Right, and even little things like my daughter and my son, I miss that. I'm like, I would never think that I would miss them to have an argument. Right. But yeah, I even miss that. It was driving me crazy, like because the things they would say.
And it's sad for, kind of sad for we have like 2 children. So when one dies, the other one, just like we're hurting, they are too. I say, no, I don't have my sister anymore, or my brother anymore. Who am I going to talk to now? Don't want to talk to mom because we talked about her sometimes. So.
Right. They had that conversation. My son and my daughter, and they on the inside. Yeah. And it's like when you come around there, it gets quiet. And you're like, oh.
And that's how you know they're talking about.
Right. Like block something.
Yeah.
Right.
Block something. That's for sure.
I know, that my daughter is.
Yeah. But I she was there for me.
Listen, this is what we're here to do, to be open, honest, and share how we overcame those situations. Because if we're being honest, not everyone probably stuck in there.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Welcome back to the Milspo Show on Sador Radio, the station that's more than just music. And once again, I have Dawn and Lisa here joining me. And the topic that we're talking about, being angel moms and overcoming the loss of tragically losing a child, sharing some tips on how to overcome. For me, it was like, okay, it's time to honor his memory and really start living. It's time to thrive. So I know you started a wellness group. You started the wonderful group that I'm a part of.
Well, the wellness group is not off yet.
It's here.
It's
here. Because
Because
if listen, here's a part of your wellness group starting right now.
Okay. So that means you ladies are coming.
I would gladly be there at any time. Any woman needs my help to uplift her, to encourage her. I'm for it. I am team girl all day. There's a quote saying that the world is supposed to be in chaos because of one woman, Eve, eating the apple, right? So just imagine if all of us women came together. We would have the power to stop the chaos, turn the world right, as you say, instead of thinking, well, I have to not associate myself with her because she's different, but respect her and say, okay, well, she's different, but she's here just like I'm here. I have a purpose, so I know she has a purpose. And if I cannot build her up, I will not tear her down.
That's right.
Meaning, don't say anything at all negative unless, well, really, to me, there's no reason to say anything negative. You can even give constructive criticism if you don't know that person.
Right.
Because in construct is to build up.
Yep.
So
Sorry.
if you don't have anything positive to say, keep it to yourself.
Keep it mindful.
Just be
Mind your
quiet.
business.
It's that simple. So, with that being said, what would you tell someone like going through the process that you went through? Which one of you ladies?
For me, like I said, I just had to put the rollerblades on and take care of small children. So that was part of my coping mechanism, focusing on them.
Right.
And also, I went to therapy.
I did as well.
I went to therapy, and it was very beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
I think a lot of people shy away from going to therapy, which is crazy to me because if I broke my arm,
You go to
You're going
doctor.
to, that's right.
so if I'm having these thoughts
Gotta
and
go to
I'm
doctor.
going through it, where am
Yeah.
I going?
Go to doctor.
Yeah, because if your
Absolutely.
mind is not, if the psyche is not healthy, the
Nothing
rest
else
of you,
is all broken.
yes.
So in
Yes,
that lovely
yes.
book that I wrote, More Than a Survivor,
Mhm.
I talk about being physically healthy,
Mhm.
spiritually healthy,
Mhm.
mentally healthy, emotionally healthy, as well as financially. A lot of times we tend to think about the financial. That's all we're thinking about. Well, I got to do this to get this, and when I get to this point in life, I'll be good. We don't think about the other things. I know if I'm off mentally, everything else starts to fall
Oh
off.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
definitely. Definitely.
So for me,
Mhm.
my mental health takes priority.
That's right.
Um,
If only
Above
other people will
anything
accept
else.
that.
And I'm maybe accepting is the wrong word. Like what we were saying before, like if you cry in public or you are not feeling so yourself and you apologize to people because you're having a trigger moment or crying, or you apologize because you couldn't make an event that you said that you would go to. And I have just finally gotten to the place where that is your issue.
right.
That is not my issue.
Mhm.
I am not going to apologize for it. You do
Yeah.
not understand why I feel this way. I don't expect you to understand,
Right.
but I'm not going to apologize anymore for how I feel. It's
Yeah.
just not going to happen.
What she
And
said.
it took me a while to get there. It took me a while to get there.
What she said. And I'm coming right behind you. Because I internalize like, oh, I know they're gonna think I suck because I'm supposed to come, but they don't understand. Like, I don't want to be there and be Debbie Downer. Like,
Right.
so what's wrong with like?
Mhm.
So no, I'm just gonna stay home and try and get my mental together.
Yes.
And keep pushing and keep going.
Mhm.
So if we could tell anybody, well, me, if I could tell any of my family or friends anything, if you ever feel like I flaked, I apologize. But 9 times out of 10, I wasn't having a good moment, and I don't like to transfer that energy to anybody.
That's negative energy.
Yeah.
I do. I have realized that hurt people,
Mhm.
and I'm hurting still from losing my son. So
Yes.
to go somewhere knowing I'm not in a good space
Yeah.
and then have someone say something stupid, then what?
You flip.
Right. And then they're looking at you like you're the problem. So I try to distance myself from those situations. And I don't know if you ladies distance yourselves as well.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
sometimes it's just like, no, I can't entertain.
No,
Yeah.
no, I will not entertain. I will not entertain.
Yeah, I just need to
Especially
be
if it's
more.
like negative or constant complaining about everything and nitty pitty stuff. Like you have no idea.
Right,
Like,
there are
just
such big things in life that can
Yeah.
happen to you.
Appreciate them.
appreciate the
small
little things.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because
Appreciate the small
once
things.
you go, that's it.
And for me,
Never return.
not just because I don't want to sound like I'm arrogant
No.
or,
Mm.
but having that experience happen when someone tries to bring small things to me, it's almost like, listen, I don't have time for this. This is like stupid. That's
And
what I want to say. This is stupid. You will have things in your life that you cannot control that will happen that will require your energy. So save your
Yeah.
energy for that because this is not worth it.
And that's what I call part of our new life.
Right.
See, prior to Brian dying, I would have entertained all of that pettiness or stupidity or
Right.
this. No. Like if it's going to upset my peace,
Right.
you cannot get into that little circle.
No matter
It's
who
just-
you are.
it just can't happen.
And that's
can't
what I had
happen.
to learn from you, Dawn.
Oh.
No matter if the person holds a title, if the relationship has lasted years or not, you protect your peace.
Inner
Peace is-
peace.
your
No
inner peace
matter
is
what.
So
Yeah.
important. It's so
You
so
know.
important.
And again, I'm a woman, so it's natural for me to want to say, this person needs me, that person needs me. Oh, I can't just neglect them or that. No, guess who needs me? Me.
Yes.
And if
Yes.
I am giving all my time and energy to someone else,
Mhm.
then and I don't replenish, then what do I have for myself?
An empty bowl. Empty bowl.
And those are the times where you're really like not being able, you find it harder to bounce back when you have those moments
Mhm.
because you have given all your strength and energy to someone else. Bouncing back, that's where we are with the bounce back. Not saying that you get over the loss of the child,
Never.
but
You will survive it.
right, yeah.
I know that Jasmine, she would want me to be happy. And
Okay.
move on. She knew my plan was to establish a private practice. And so I was like, that's what's dedicated to her.
Okay.
Because she would want me to be happy.
And you
So
as
I'll
well,
keep
like
that
you were
going.
already in your profession.
Yeah, and I think for me, like when Brian died, it was like, what was my purpose?
Mhm.
I became a mom at 23. A lot of those years were him and I,
Right.
and when he died, it's like my entire identity was questioned.
Right.
Well, if I'm not his mom, then
Who am I?
Who am I?
Mhm.
And I think me helping other moms that are in this situation, that became my light.
Right.
It drove me out of that darkness.
Right.
That these women, they're looking to me to help them, and if I can encourage them or support them or motivate them,
Mhm.
just a little bit, where especially if you're brand new, and I recognize the words you're saying are exact words I said. It's my job to pull you from that dark place, because that dark place can get you if you're not careful. And I think that is what I think Brian led me to.
Right.
I think he wanted to take my love that I had for him and spread it to other people, to open my heart up and take in what I was to him
Right.
to other people,
That is
for other
awesome.
people.
Like that is just hearing you say that and then hearing you ladies, you pull off of your children's energy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes me not feel crazy to know I pull off my son's energy.
Nothing crazy.
Having him come to me, and it was no big deal for him to give someone his newer sneakers to play ball in than his older sneakers, because why would I give him the old ones that I done worn out? And I'm like, because you didn't pay for either of them.
That's how we raised them.
Yeah,
And they got that from us.
from us, and it's just like when you look at him and he's like young and innocent and has his head on straight and not jaded by the world, like, because we have been used and hurt, and now we're like, oh no, I got to be protective of my space, and I'm now coming back to that. I'm not going to change who I am. I don't have to be so protective. I can be that good person and not worry about someone taking advantage, because even if their intentions are not good, mine are.
Exactly. And
So,
you know it.
right?
And you know it. Yeah.
So I tend to think about him and think about that, and pull off that energy and be like, okay, well, you can do it. Because when he was here, my plan was, okay, well, when the son goes to college, I'll
No.
probably move to somewhere close by.
Oh, goodness.
But yeah, that was the plan. But I will go to school and I will go to law school because whenever he decides to do what he's going to do, because at that point he wants to play ball, I will be able to look out for him still. Now, still being a mom,
Mhm.
he's gonna be grown. He's gonna have his, but I will have the mental and the backing, the education to say, okay, well, what paperwork do you have? What contracts do you have? Let me read
Yeah.
over it. Because even if you had a lawyer or a manager, mom's here and I'm qualified.
Right.
So I'm going to do it regardless.
Mhm.
And then not having that, which was my plan. So now what's my
And
plan?
I'm like you, I don't play.
Oh, I don't plan anymore.
I don't
but
plan anymore.
That was my plan before he passed.
And
like,
what I
Some
found,
things I do.
what I found really interesting in my journey having, just Brian as my biological child,
Mhm.
I didn't know that you could still be a mom after your child dies.
right.
You can still mom your child after death. And like, it's not the same, obviously, than cleaning his room or ironing his
Right.
clothes, doing laundry, making dinner,
Right.
all that stuff, homework. But everything that I have done from the day he died till today, to being here,
Right.
is for him. It's everything that I've done in his name for the community, for other
Right.
kids, for scholarships that are in his name, helping other moms, creating our group,
Right.
being, part of that book to help other moms. That's because of him,
Right.
So
Mhm.
in essence, I look at it as I'm still mothering him.
Yes.
It's different, it's completely different, but he is, every decision I make now still, is because of him.
Mhm.
Just like you make decisions, that you think are best at the time when your kids are here,
Right.
I still do that, and he's gone, and I still make decisions. Would he want me to do this? Would this make him, would he have wanted
Right.
to do this for underprivileged children, and donate to the school and things like that? It's all for him.
Right.
So you're still, moms that don't have other children, and I'm very, very fortunate that I have Madison. But there are a lot of moms that, that they don't have a blended family, and they lost their only child, that they
Yeah.
do feel like they'll never be grandmoms, they'll never, that their legacy is over, it's done.
Right.
And it's really not. You can choose every single day to fight and to get up and to do things that
Help
are in
someone
honor of
else.
your child,
Mhm.
and things that they like.
Right.
Like, as Brian was in track and in ACES, which is a musical choir. I do things for that. I do things. He was very good about, he never understood why kids didn't have school supplies when he was young.
Right.
So now every year, we donate,
I still feel that
for,
connection.
yeah, I feel
Yeah.
that, and it's all, and I wouldn't have that if not for him.
Right.
And that doesn't make me any less of a mom.
No.
So for moms that feel like that, they need to dig deep, just dig, it's in there. You just gotta
Right.
find it. You just gotta find it.
They still live in you.
Yeah.
And it's hard to hear it, especially from somebody when they say, well, he's still with you. In the beginning, that it was like, what are you stupid? Like, but then now you're like, oh, I get it.
Right.
Not physical,
Mhm.
but in here,
Yeah.
he's, because a lot of things that you do, you think about your child.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And for me, with my son, um, knowing that he had that love and compassion for other people, and hearing him when we talk about our, his dreams, a lot of the times the conversations that we had, me encouraging him, is what I draw on right now to keep me going
Yes.
forward.
Mhm.
He and I had a conversation maybe a month before he passed. He's crying, I'm crying, because I'm telling him there's no giving up. Whatever it is that he wants to do, he's capable of doing. He has the talents, he has our support. We got you, son. You can make this happen. You don't need a plan B. If this is your plan A, you have up to 100, then you can start over under your plan A, ways to try and make this happen.
Mhm.
And we have you. I recall that. because I get in my own head and be like, what are you doing? You can't do that. That's too much. Who do you think you are? And I'll say, yes again. A very good woman told me I had a voice and I should use it.
I wonder who's
That's
that.
So
I wonder who's that.
yes, Miss Dawn. So I am using it.
Yes.
Once again, you're listening to the Milspo show on Sedora Radio. And we're using it. I really and truly want to say that if you cannot tune in live, you would want to go and replay this because it's not about losing a child. You will be encouraged to know no matter what you're facing in life that you can overcome and push forward.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I know it's about losing a child, but like for me, I told you it took me a long time. I still don't think that I've grieved
right,
because, like I said, I had to take care of the children. That was 2014. 2016, I lost my mother. So then I had to deal with that. Then
right,
2018, I lost my dad. So it was like, okay, could I get a break
Right.
already?
Right.
So it's like,
And you have to grieve. You
yeah,
have to embrace that
mhm,
pain.
mhm. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, gosh, I gotta do Jasmine first. You know what I'm saying? So busy, busy, busy. But when I stop, now I'm like, okay.
And I
yeah,
think
she's
people
not
are
coming
afraid
back,
to
and-
well, I call it purging the pain.
yeah,
I think that they're afraid to do that. And for me, for my healing, I have to.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have to embrace every emotion. I mean, and I was angry there for a while. This past year, I was just angry at the world could have blown up, and I would have been fine.
Right.
You know, it's and but you have in order if your potential goal is to heal, which I think we're gonna die still healing because I don't think that you 100% heal from
Right.
this. You
No,
have
I
to
don't think
you
so
have
either.
to embrace it. You can't shut off your emotions. You have to feel all
That's
cry
why
it
when I
out,
have
yell
it-
it out, laugh it out.
Mhm.
Feel everything, the good,
Yeah.
the bad, everything. And for me, grief and joy exist both
Mhm.
inside me.
Yeah.
And I don't
Oh,
ever
yeah.
I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
I don't ever choose one or the other. They're just both there.
And sometimes they come simultaneously.
Absolutely.
And for you, the terminology, the proper
Names.
wordage, for grief.
Yeah, she just mentioned one of the stages. She
Yeah.
said anger.
Anger.
Yeah,
it's
so
denial, anger, bargaining,
Yes.
depression, and acceptance.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not at the acceptance
I
yet.
don't think I've ever. I don't know about number 5. I teeter-tottered through the first 4,
I'm still not there yet.
but I'm not at number 5.
Me either.
And maybe when that day comes and they go to lay me in it, or I'm about to take my last breath,
That's when I will
breath,
accept it.
I'll say, I'm at number 5.
Yep. That'll be me. That'll be
Because
me too.
I go back and forth with the,
Right.
I was never angry.
They think.
I was.
This past year, I was angry like a mofo.
I'm telling you, I was so angry that I said, I'm not going outside, because I know that from a distance you can't tell who the fool is.
Right. But you can.
Right. And my mindset was I hurt so bad that if I could beat somebody to death or make them bleed at least, it probably would make me feel better.
That's deep.
Same.
See,
But that'll be temporary.
Yeah, and it was.
And it's temporary.
Yeah.
And that's with everything, like what we were saying, when you have to be healthy all the way around. Those first 2 years, I wasn't healthy at all. I mean, I was eating like crazy, gained so much weight, drinking like crazy. It was just
up and down,
and then finally, it's like you get to a point where you're like, okay, you got to stop this. You have another 40 plus years of life in you, if you're lucky.
Right.
And I can't live 40 years like this. So taking care of all of that, like you were saying, with your mental health, your physical health, all of that.
And this gives me an opportunity to share too, because
and sharing is healing.
I listen. Everybody brings everything to me.
We don't. I was a former. Okay, let me say, I was a former patient client of Dawn's, the best. Sorry.
It's all right.
And no longer because we can't.
Yeah.
But when I say to you the best, safe, no judgment. And that's what I was looking for. I wanted to let my freak flag fly and not feel like, oh God, we're about to have the people outside the door.
Behavioral health is about to come down.
Right, yeah. Like, I needed someone to know that when I say these things, I don't mean literally this is what's gonna happen. I
Right.
mean I'm just hurting.
Right. I'm hurting.
So it was like once I got that person that I could trust and I was able to purge, I began to be able to move forward and really start saying, okay, now I can really, really focus on some of the things that I want to do.
Right.
Because I'm not constantly over here doubting myself or second guessing myself because I don't feel like mentally I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
And so I would say to anyone, take that time to go and talk to someone.
Exactly. Yes.
It helps no
Yeah.
matter what you are experiencing. It may not be as traumatic as losing a child.
Right.
It could be the dissolve of a 10-year, 20-year marriage. And you feel like you're at your breaking point. I would encourage any woman to go and seek professional help because, like I said, we have been trained sometimes as women to nitpick and well, I'm going to tell you what I would do and yeah, so just try and get professional help. Right, so if you can take anything away from this show, and we're about to go on break, so if anybody has any questions before our show is over, you can dial 215-909-6070 or type in your questions on Facebook Live or Sador Radio on YouTube. We are going to play this song real quick, and we will be back after the short break.
I'm enjoying this stuff. It's like a sit down, like I said.
Red table.
Yeah.
Red table talk.
Okay, when we come back, we'll be wrapping this stuff up, and then I have to talk about the next show, which is going to be breast cancer. And breast cancer is 2 weeks from today. So it's on the 23rd. Yeah. That's why I said you would be here if it wasn't for you gonna be on probate. So we're not even supposed to see each other. While she's going through this whole transition. But when I say to you, Lisa, I was like, wait, me and Lisa, like, you conversed and we go. And you had no certain feeling about leaving somebody to check. So then it made me, like the way nobody can ever tell me. Somebody can say that I saw Lisa and she was rocking the baby. I was really fight. Like, no, you did not. Well, can you tell me what she was? I don't know, but I can tell you she wouldn't be doing that. So it just made me, it's crazy because you sit in that room, in that field, and then now I desire to, and I was like, I might be yours one day. We never know. Like, and see, I am a firm believer of the parents, they market it. The lawyers, they just get the check. And they're the mouthpiece. But the parents are running. So for me, it's like, I need to put my brain into how much she really likes it. Because it's about to be that transition for the next 10 years of law school. Yeah, I'm all into it. Like, if you watch Law and Order, that's good. Oh, and then, where we go?
That's what I said. I remember that.
Once the show's over.
You see that when they get to the video again? Get it, girl. Oh, shit. Fuck. I know it's in there right there.
Okay, I hope the children are at school. Whoopsie. But you know that Lizzo, it really gets my spirits going. I mean, music is one of the things that takes me out of my funk. It's one of the things that I share with my children always, and music and dancing. Like my children will bust out singing an Isley song, Earth, Wind and Fire, you know, Marvin Gaye, anything, because Saturday mornings you put your music on, you don't know what your mood is going to be like, but and I found for a while after losing Chino, there was really no, I didn't really want to hear music, didn't want to dance, didn't want to laugh. Because like you, when you said that first laugh, my first time laughing, I felt almost like, oh my God, no, I'm letting him down. I feel like I'm moving on and
Guilty.
showing him.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
You feel
guilt
guilty.
going
I
on.
did too.
I can be happy without him. Like, what does that? I don't want him to think that, you know.
So let me ask you a question.
You're still alive.
You had two children.
Yes.
So having another child, did that help you do it? Cope better and know that you have
It
another child?
motivated me
Okay.
to, hey, I love you both, you know, and I would never ever want my baby girl to feel like she didn't mean enough to me that I would fight for her, because that's not the issue. She's 28 and I would fight for her right now.
Yeah.
You know, that's my princess, that's my firstborn.
Mhm.
It was a process, and then, you know, to thinking that's my child, I'm supposed to protect her as well. Well, now she no longer has a brother.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
And I've always raised them. One day I'm gonna leave y'all, and all y'all gonna have is each other.
That's right.
So in her mind, she's lost her brother. One day she potentially could lose her mother and her father. And guess who she's gonna have?
Auntie.
Family, but mommy has been telling me and my brother, this is it, you know, and so I try to be mindful and encourage her and tell her your brother's no longer here, but you push forward and you live because of. A part of him lives in you. You still have memories. They, like I said, they had inside jokes. Not privy to.
That all kids have.
You know,
all siblings have that. You know.
well, they'll say little things from a movie or a TV show, and then they'll bust out laughing, and you're looking like, I don't get it.
They don't want you to get it.
Right.
And that was like with us, you know, Brian was an only child.
Mhm.
Madison's an only child from her mom and dad. And so when we got together, Brian, my husband, also name is Brian, it's weird, but when my husband and I got together, it was like, oh my God, you know, we gave these kids siblings, and you'd never know that they were that they were step brother and sister, and they never called each other that. This is my brother, this is my sister. And you know, when Brian died, you know, you grieve so hard that sometimes that trickles down to the child that's left.
Yes.
And it's not your intention to do that, and but it happens, and especially when they're out of the house. So she, you know, she was at college, and I think our pain and our grief trying to survive this, and to keep our unit of a marriage together while we're going through this. And he's not Brian's dad; he's Brian's stepdad. So then you have that, you know, where you know you're just trying to make everything fit, and you know a lot of people are like, oh, you know, marriages don't survive this. And then when you have a marriage that's a step parent and the mom, it's greater. And our thing was that no matter what, that would have been a greater tragedy, you know, as great as, you know, like Brian would have hated that. So whatever we have to do to keep this together, you know, and push through and do all that, and what happens is, at least for our case, us doing that and trying to grieve the loss of Brian separately and as individuals and as a couple,
Right.
which is extremely hard to do, and work through that, it trickles down to your child,
Yes.
you know, and it's not that you forget that your child is grieving too. It just, it's an unconscious kind of,
Because you're dealing from the loss of a mother. And it's
right.
not that you're discrediting their loss and their pain, but it's different.
Well, my daughter, I mean, she openly grieved, my baby will be 29 next month. But anyway, she was upset with me because she felt I didn't grieve. And I'm like, everyone does not grieve the same. I have my moments when I go now, I might go in my room by myself 5 or 10 minutes and I'll think about her,
Right.
sit a minute and I have little, heartache and the memories. And like
Right.
you said, you could cry and laugh at the same time because then you start thinking about something, your child had done that was humorous or whatever.
Right.
And so I had to explain to my daughter um, that just because you don't see me out here boo-hooing and breaking down, it doesn't mean
Right.
that I'm not grieving.
And
Right,
everybody
you know?
grieves differently.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you can't expect somebody to grieve. And it's not everybody's relationship with that child is different.
Yeah,
Very.
I
My,
have a
you know,
sibling
right. My relationship
relationship
with Brian is different than, my mom and dad's relationship with Brian.
Right.
Brian's
Mhm.
relationship with Brian.
Exactly.
Madison, everybody's relationship with that person
Is
is completely different.
Right.
Completely
You know,
different.
so everybody's going to grieve their loss a different way. The key, at least that worked for us, is number one, respect.
Right.
That you need to respect that you're going to grieve your way, I'm going to grieve my way, but as long as we travel this path together,
We'll be
and
okay.
we'll be okay.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
And so and I have to give props to my husband because he's amazing. Like, he's just truly amazing man. And he never, I will sometimes do the apology with him. Like, I'll be washing dishes and all of a sudden start crying. I'm like, I'm sorry, you know what I mean? And he's like, why are you apologizing? Like, it's
Right.
fine. And I'm very verbal. I'm very outward with my
Right.
emotions. He's not.
Right.
I respect that with him. I know that about him.
Right.
And I don't make him be somebody that he's not. He doesn't make me be somebody that I'm not, where I have to outwardly talk about it. I have to, outwardly express myself. That's how I heal.
Right.
He
Wow, I like
will get that way privately.
Mhm.
I hear him. I'm not stupid. I hear him
We
cry.
know
I know
exactly what's going on.
I can look, I can look at my husband's face and I'll know that, 5 minutes prior he was probably thinking about Brian.
Right.
And it hits him. You just respect the boundary of your love, that you respect the privacy of whatever that person is grieving, whether outwardly or internally.
I will say
Gotta do it.
to me in the beginning, right after, which is crazy, I looked at my husband and I said to him, I don't have the energy, right,
Right.
to be in this marriage, to love you right now.
Mhm.
Because that's
At least you were
I
honest.
I felt
It's how
like
she felt.
Mhm.
I needed to be honest with my partner. And I looked him dead in his eye and let him know I do not have the energy. And in a sense, what I was
That's a
saying with
devastating
little
moment.
words, and it's crazy, like pretty much giving him permission to, you can do whatever you want to do at this point because I'm out. I'm mentally checked out. I'm done. And my husband, God bless his heart, that's my everything. That's my best friend.
Yep.
He looked at me and said, I got you.
Yep.
I got us.
Yep.
Mhm.
And it was never a moment of, oh, this is enough.
No.
These moments come. I watched this man who knew that he couldn't take this pain away,
Yeah. And wants to.
still try and protect me and let me know, if you feel like you can't get out this bed, then don't.
Mhm. Mhm.
Don't worry about me. Don't worry about anybody else. Worry about you because you give
had
enough.
to get through it. You had to go through it. Yeah.
And that was your son, and I'm his father, but it's different because you carry
Yeah.
him.
Yep. That's it. That bond.
So knowing that he understood that,
Yeah.
and he had me, and not only did he say the words, but he showed
Showed it. Yep.
that he had me. It's like Never. Yeah, like I would, I will always have your back for forever. You know, beyond the breast cancer, you know, and losing both breasts and hair and everything, and him having my back. But at that moment, when I was at my lowest, to know your partner got your back. And like I will pick you up, I will hold you up, I will do whatever you need, but you will be okay.
Ride or die.
Yep.
It means everything.
It does. And I didn't think that I could, you know, love, respect, and honor my husband more than the day that we got married. He proved to me that I could.
Oh, definitely.
He proved to me that
like
I
you
could.
is a real man.
Yeah.
A real man.
And I wasn't I'm not an easy wife. So. Like
I was already low key, you know, but now I'm really
crazy.
Yeah, you know, like that.
It's true. I was a little crazy before Brian and I. Then, you know, you go full on psycho.
Right.
You know, so like,
and
you know.
look, and you have those moments where you look, you be like, you're still here.
Yeah.
You're still here.
Which makes me question his judgment a little bit.
You must be a little as well. But definitely, like, ladies, this right here has
So good.
really been good for me. It's been good for my soul. It's been good for my spirit.
Me too.
I pray that those that were able to tune in, your spirit was blessed. It's been good for you, that you were motivated, and that you will come back and tune in Wednesday, October the 23rd, between 12 and 2, to the Milspo Show on Sedora Radio, the station that's more than just music, because we will be talking about breast cancer. Once again, Dawn won't be able to be here, but you ladies, you all will find out why later.
It's a big secret, apparently.
Yeah, it is. And we're going to address this month is my 9-year anniversary of being breast cancer free, and I just got discharged from the oncologist.
I know, I heard it. Oh man,
the best surprise ever.
Listen, you sent that text to me, and I looked at it, and I was like, "Oh, great!" And I'm like, "My day coming when they gonna say, you know what, you don't have to come back."
Listen, and they won't give you any warning. It will not be any warning. There was no
not writing another prescription for chemo.
Right. And so it was like I went in there totally ready for them to say, boom, let's go. We're gonna do more tests, make sure you're good. Da, da, da. And he looked at me, you look good, you look great. We're gonna release you today. You know what? I wanted to run out before he changed his mind. Like, let me get out of here.
Hey, wait a minute, come back. Come back.
I interrupted other people's visits because, you know, some of the nurses were still there from 9 years ago.
Yeah, Sharon.
So I wanted to say bye, like, not see you later, bye. To those ladies and Mr. Terry as well, and be like, so yeah, I was busting in, and I'm like, bye, no, bye. They said I don't have to come back, and they're looking like, oh, okay.
When you said that, I was like,
yeah, like I don't know what part of this process that you're in this room, like it's new for you, but it's 9 years. Oh, okay. And they just smiled, like, yeah, oh, okay. And there was another lady. I was like, it's been 9 years. It's been a long time. I just want to say bye, and you know.
When I went. So I went up there, and I was like, why don't y'all just give me a bed with my name engraved on it?
So, you know, for me, breast cancer is a very big thing. I would also like to see a foundation organization geared more towards our military, women serving and the wives, you know, because I was a part of that process. Mm-hmm. My husband was deployed when I got that news about having breast cancer. Big thank you to WOMAC. Oncology.
Best
the breast
department
clinic.
Yep, Dr.
Big thank you to them. Because I am still here. I am more than a survivor.
Yes.
And they were wonderful through the whole process. So you make sure you tune in with us 2 weeks from now on October the 23rd, where we will be talking about breast cancer awareness, survivor, and I will be announcing with guests that will join me, as well as let me say thank you again to you, Dawn.
Oh, you're welcome.
To you, Lisa.
Thank you.
To you, Sissy, over there working the magic in the background.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you to my husband. Thank you to Mark 5, Mr. Mark, the person that is in charge of Sador Radio. Thank you. Big shout out to DJ Manny Strong for holding your sister down and making sure I got my music that I needed. It was a blessing. I want to thank all of you that tuned in, left comments as well for joining us. I hope that you were blessed. I hope that you feel empowered. And I hope that you will join us yet again. There's more to come. There will be all kinds of topics, relationship, mental health, sex, because the kids will be in school from 12 to 2. So, yeah, and if you are not ready for that, maybe you might want to record it and watch it later while you're by yourself. And it's going to make you blush because we're going to keep it real as usual and empower women to be their best selves. So once again, I'd like to thank everybody, and we are going to go out with the outro music. So y'all have a blessed day. The Milspo Show.
Woo!
Okay, we can see us now. Oh, this good? Oh. I need 60 seconds.
Yeah. And then let's get it in.
That was fun.
See,
Just being ourselves, you know, just
no bad energy.
Right,
There's
exactly.
nothing.
I was like,
I don't want people to see me. But that's the person that told me I have a really
yes, you do.
She don't want nobody to see her. Like, are you crazy? I like to put you out. Right, like you gonna put me out there, but like I'll stay in the background.